The Tarrasch Trap refers to two different chess opening traps in the Ruy Lopez. Unlike many variations that appear only in analysis, Tarrasch actually sprung his traps against masters in tournament games. This is how the Tarrasch Trap works in the open variation. The game starts with 1 e4, e5, 2, knight f3, knight c6, 3, bishop b5. This is the Ruy Lopez, and the main line continues with a6, 4 bishop a4, knight f6, 5 castle, knight times e4. This is the open variation of the Ruy Lopez, 6 d4, b5, 7 bishop b3, d5, 8 d times e5, bishop e6, 9 c3, bishop e7. Now white prepares the trap with the subtle move, 10 rook e1. Now after black castles, how does white set the trap? Pause the video if you need more time. 11, knight d4. Now the trap's set. How should black respond? If you need more time, hit pause. Should black exchange knights or try to protect his knight? If black plays queen d7 to protect his knight, how should white play? Knight times e6 is the answer, taking advantage of the discovered pin along the d file and the pin along the b2 g8 diagonal. No matter how black recaptures, white wins a piece with the move, rook times knight. This is how the Tarrasch Trap is set in the Steinitz variation, as follows: 1 e4, e5, 2 knight f3, knight c6, 3 bishop b5, d6. This is the Steinitz variation of the Ruy Lopez. Now white plays 4 d4 threatening to attack with d5. Black meets the threat by breaking the pin with bishop d7. Now if both players continue developing as follows: 5, knight c3, knight f6, 6 castle. After bishop e7, how can white set a trap for black? 7 rook e1 is subtle yet powerful. The move looks very normal and unassuming positional. However, this is far from the truth. The trap's laid. How should black play? Pause the video if you need more time. Should black castle or exchange pawns? Considering the tension in the middle, along with white's rook on the same file as black's king, castling may seem like the natural and logical choice. However, exchanging pawns is better. Let's see what can happen when black castles. White continues by adding pressure to the critical e5 square with 8, bishop times c6, eliminating the knight guarding e5, and after, bishop times c6, 9 d times e5, d times e5. How should white continue? Pause the video if you need more time. Before capturing the pawn, white first needs to exchange queens with 10 queen times d8, rook a times d8, 11, knight times e5. Black's best move here is probably 11, bishop d7, although white would remain a pawn ahead. However, if black tries to even the score with bishop times e4, white has 12 knight times e4, knight times e4. And how should white continue? Pause the video if you need more time. Rook times e4 would be a horrible blunder ending with checkmate. White blocks that possibility with his next move, making the threat real against the black knight on e4 with 13, knight d3. Now the knight cannot move because of the pin against the bishop, so black protects the knight with 13, f5, and white attacks the knight again with 14 f3. Now bishop c5 check may seem to have solved all of black's problems, but after 15, knight times c5, knight times c5, black's knight ends up on the same diagonal as his rook. The question is, how can white take advantage? Pause the video if you need more time to think. Notice that white can fork the rook and knight if he can find a time to maneuver his bishop to e7. White gains the needed tempo by first attacking the rook with 16, bishop g5, and after black moves the rook, for example, rook d5, white sticks his fork in with 17, bishop e7. But wait a minute, how does white continue if black wins the bishop with rook to e8? Pause the video if more time is needed. White renews the double attack by focusing on the other rook, and attacking it with 18 c4, and now white wins at least the exchange.